Hey kids, welcome to section 1.2 overtime pay. Today we're going to learn how to calculate straight time, overtime, and total pay. So why do employers pay a higher rate for overtime work? Well, if they're trying to get you to work more hours than you normally work in a week, they're probably going to have to pay you more than you normally get paid during the week. So employers often have overtime. Sometimes it's different for Saturday, sometimes it's different for Sunday, holiday pay. There's all sorts of different kinds of overtime. So we're going to talk about a few of them today. When you work more than the regular number of hours, you may earn overtime pay. A regular work week can be anywhere between 30 and 40 hours before earning overtime pay. Some companies you have to work 40 hours before you get overtime. Some it's 37. Some never give overtime. So, overtime pay is just when you work more than the number of regular hours. Time and a half is one type of overtime rate, and it's equal to 1.5 times your regular hourly rate. You can also think of it as 1.5. Double time is another time of overtime rate, and that's equal to twice your regular hourly rate, and twice you can think of as two. Employers often pay double time for Sundays and holidays. Again, each company is different with the number of hours you have to work before you earn overtime, and each company is different with what kind of overtime they offer. So you'll just have to ask whoever you work for. So overtime pay is really easy. You just take your overtime rate and you multiply it by how many hours of overtime you worked. And then if you want to find your total pay, you take your straight time pay, which is what we learned in section 1.1, and you add it to your overtime pay, which is what we just learned now in 1.2, and you get your total pay. So let's take a look at some examples of all these different ways to get paid. Number one, Josie Perez makes $9 per hour. She worked 40 regular hours and 6 hours at time and a half. Find the total pay. Well, she's going to have regular hours and she's going to have overtime hours. Well, she's earning $9 an hour and she's working 40 regular hours. So that means that she's going to earn $360 from regular pay. Her overtime rate is going to be that same $9, but she's going to be earning time and a half, which is the number 1.5. So we need to multiply this $9 by 1.5, and we have to multiply it by how many hours she worked, which was 6. So if I do $9 times 1.5 times 6, I get $81. Well, to find the total pay, I just add those two numbers together. The 36 and the 81 is going to give me a total of $441. So find your regular pay by taking the hourly rate and multiplying by the hours. Find your overtime rate by taking your hourly rate, multiplying by your overtime rate, and multiplying by the number of hours. Once you get those two numbers, you can add them together to find your total pay. That's what this is. Okay, example number 2, Xavier works on an 8-hour day. He is paid $13.69 an hour for regular time work and double time for any hours over 8 hours a day. Xavier worked these hours last week. Find his gross pay for the week. All right, so in Xavier's company, anything over 8 hours is considered overtime. So let's see how many hours he worked regularly, and let's see how many hours he worked overtime. So let's see, Monday he worked 9 3/4 hours. Well, that means he worked 8 hours regularly and 1 3/4 overtime. On Tuesday, he worked 8 hours, so we're good. On Wednesday, he worked 6 hours, so we're fine. Thursday, he worked 8.5 hours. So that means I have 8 hours of regular and 1/2 hour of overtime. And Friday, he worked 8 hours. So let's figure out what these totals are. So if I add up the 8, the 8, the 6, the 8, and the 8, I get 38 hours. If I add the 1 3/4 and the 1/2 together, I get 2.25 hours. So now I need to figure out the amount of money that we earned. Well, The regular pay is 38 hours times 1369. And the overtime hours is 2.25 times the 1369 times double time, which is 2. So 38 times 1369 is 520 and 22 cents. 225 times 1369 times 2 is $61.61. Total pay is adding them up. I get $581.83. So read carefully. Every overtime problem is different, so you need to make sure that you read the problem carefully. All right, let's take a look at number 3. Olivia Ricardo works on a 40-hour week basis, and her work time is recorded in tenths of hours. She is paid time and a half for all hours worked over 40 hours in a week. Olivia's regular time pay is $12.87 an hour. She worked these hours in a week: Monday 8.4, Tuesday 7.8, Wednesday 8.0, Thursday 9.2, Friday 8.5. What gross wages did Olivia earn last week? All right, so I guess we need to find total hours. Since her overtime is anything over 40, we need to add up all the hours and see if we're over 40. So 8.4, 7.8, 8.0, 9.2, and 8.5. If I add up all these hours, I'm going to get 41.9 hours. So it looks like she did hit her overtime. So we're going to have regular pay and we're going to have overtime pay. Her regular time pay is her price per hour, which is $12.87, and her regular hours are 40. So if I multiply this, I'm going to get $514.80. Her overtime is any hours over 40. Well, 41.9, if I subtract 40 hours, is going to be 1.9 hours of overtime. So I'm going to take 1.9 hours, multiply it by the 1287, and time and a half is 1.5. So I'm going to multiply it by 1.5. This is going to give me a total of $36.68. To find the total pay for the week for Olivia, I'm going to add these two numbers up, and I'm going to get $551.48. Total gross pay for the week. All right, last example. Domingo earns $13 per hour and works 37.5 hours per week. He is paid double time for all hours worked over 37.5 in 1 week. Last week, Domingo was paid $585. How many overtime hours did he work that week? Well, normally we would take the regular pay and we would add the overtime pay and we would get the gross pay. Well, our regular pay is $13 per hour and he worked 37.5 hours. His overtime pay is $13 an hour. We know he gets paid double time, so that's the number 2. But we don't know how many hours he works, so I'm going to put an H. And our gross pay for the week was $585. So now this is an equation from algebra that we need to solve. So I need to multiply the 13 and the 37.5. That's 487.5. I need to multiply the 13 and the 2 to get 26. The H just kind of hangs out because it's a letter. Equals 585. Now I need to get the letter alone, so I need to subtract 487.5 from both sides. So that's going to give me 26H equals 97.5. And then I need to solve for H, so I need to divide by 26. And I get 3.75 hours. So we can use algebra to figure out how many overtime hours Domingo earned. All right, kids, that's the end of section 1.2. If you guys have any questions, please let me know. And as always, keep calm and keep trucking.